Okay, so very good evening to everyone. I hope I'm audible. If I'm audible, please say yes in the chat box. 1, 2, 3, check, check, guys. Okay, great, right. So I'm audible. So hi everyone. So my name is Aman. I'll be today. We shall be not I, right? We will be doing a lot of legal aptitude uh, questions and आज का जो ये CLAT marathon है, right? Which will be on LA legal aptitude, which also is considered to be the most important section of your CLAT exam. So I believe most of you by now have sorted, I would say, most of the things about their exam style, about their strategy, how they are going to attempt the paper. और आज की जो ये सेशन है, राइट, आज हम बात और अच्छे से करने वाले हैं that what else you can do to better your scores in the LA section, right? So let's start with this. Okay, if you have any questions, again we are using the live chat here on the YouTube itself, right? So आपको वहाँ पर if you have any doubts you can ask me there, or you will have to share your answers also there itself, right? So that's the only way we can uh, chat with each other. Okay, so if everyone is ready, we shall go ahead. I'm just waiting a go ahead from my team as well, right? And then we will be starting the session. Bakul is saying yes. Okay, finally, I was waiting for someone to initiate the chat. Okay, Bakul, thank you so much. Right, so if you are I mean, you guys will have to be a little more interactive, right? So that we can take out maximum from this particular session. Okay, so now let's start. So firstly, I will briefly talk about the legal aptitude section, right? क्यों important है? So that we are in the zone to read questions and to understand what is required. अभी भी और for the last few days what we should be focusing on as far as the legal aptitude section is concerned, right? So legal aptitude section, firstly, we all know this, right? So passage based, more application of mind, right? Checks your understanding of legal terms more than core legal concepts. Now this is very very important. Why? Because till now we have been focusing a lot on the core legal concepts as well, which is perfectly fine, right? Which is perfectly fine, but now we have reached that stage, the exam is right here. तो आपको अब कोई भी ऐसे legal concepts जहाँ पे आपको feel हो रहा है that you're not able to understand, या आपको ये feel हो रहा है कि you've understood a bit but not entirely, that's perfectly okay. We need not do that. For example, why I say this, yesterday itself, right, someone asked me what res judicata is, right? Res judicata or res judicata, right, however you want to pronounce it. Now but while I was explaining the concept, right, I was also telling the students not to worry about this at this stage, because there will be a lot of core legal concepts which you will not know. More important क्या है कि आपको जो terms हैं, right, and where they are trying to explain what res judicata is, pay more attention to the terms there or the way they have been explaining that concept in the passage. Even if you will not get one question right because of your lack of understanding, maybe you will get the other 3 or 4 right? So that's the most important part, कि आपको focus रखना है, रहना है उस पैसेज के ऊपर. डोंट गो बहुत बार आपके साथ ये होगा, राइट? व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग दीज लीगल कॉन्सेप्ट्स यू विल ट्राई टू रिमेंबर कि मुझे इस कॉन्सेप्ट में कितना याद है, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ देयर इज अ पैसेज ऑन से VNFI, वॉलंटरी नॉन इंजुरिया, सब लोगों ने बहुत बार मल्टीपल टाइम्स पढ़ा हुआ है इसको, right? But if you see a passage in the paper which talks about VNFI, don't try to remember what VNFI is. Why? Because VNFI का कौन सा relevant part उस passage में use हो रहा है, वो आपको नहीं मालूम होगा। और अगर आप इतना ज़्यादा सोचेंगे यू विल end up spending more time. I hope I'm able to explain this, right? अगर आप लोगों को ये समझ में आया प्लीज से yes in the chat box. बट मैं आपको ये बता रहा हूँ कि ये ध्यान रखिएगा, टॉपिक्स जो आपने पढ़े भी हुए हैं उनको भी आप वहाँ पर ये मत देखिएगा कि लाइक यू नो वेदर आई नो दिस और नॉट, वाई बिकॉज दे मे नॉट यूज द एग्जैक्ट सेम एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ वी एन एफ आई देयर, राइट? हो सकता है वी एन एफ आई का कोई कुछ और कॉन्सेप्ट यूज हो रहा हो और जो हमने जो क्लास में किया है शायद वो सेम कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं यूज हो रहा, बट इट विल हार्डली मैटर. वॉट मैटर्स इज कि उन्होंने जो पूछा है हमको ध्यान उस पर देना होगा कि कौन सा पार्ट ज़्यादा रेलिवेंट है, राइट? सो 25% ऑफ पेपर दैट वी ऑल नो दैट एंड इट चेक्स योर एनालिटिकल स्किल्स अगेन. सो वी आर होपिंग कि 28 to 32 के आसपास ये हमारे जो नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस है वो होंगे. तनु सिंह या डबल जेपडी या, सो ये भी बहुत बार ये टॉपिक आया है. It's also a tiebreaker section as well, and that's also one reason why most of you, and not just this reason, I also understand that most of you prefer attempting LA first, or usually LA is our favorite section also. पर उसके साथ साथ वो टाई ब्रेकर तो है ही है, so that's also one reason why your scores matter a lot. Common mistakes before we start looking at the passages, what can go wrong, right? So पूरे क्लास का जो वो है कि हमको क्या नहीं करना है. a lot of people who already know me, मैं बार बार आपको ये बताता हूँ कि just don't make too many errors in the paper, especially with LA, and you'll be fine, right? Now how we do that उस पर हम अभी बात करेंगे, बट एक चीज़ जो आपको ध्यान में रखनी होती है स्पेसिफिकली विद LA सेक्शन, वो क्या है? फर्स्टली रीडिंग स्पीड. इफ यू आर अटेम्प्टिंग LA फर्स्ट, you have to be very clear why are you attempting LA first. Reading the questions too fast or incorrect, दोनों हो सकते हैं. ये हो सकता है कि वहाँ पे कुछ और लिखा है और हम कुछ और पढ़ रहे हैं, right, which is incorrect, or you are trying to read too fast जिसमें कुछ information आपका miss होगा. By the way, I know you guys have attempted a lot of mocks. आपको ये अभी फील हो रहा होगा कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला, but exactly यही होगा, right? Because exam pressure is something else, right? Exam pressure की वजह से ये सारी जो mistakes हैं ये बार बार होती हैं हमसे. So that's the reason we have to work on these. Not reading options till the end. बहुत बहुत बार होता है कि आपने फर्स्ट टू ऑप्शंस को ही देख के सोच लिया कि दिस हैज़ टू बी द राइट आंसर. lot of us try to finish the entire legal section with 100% accuracy. इस स्टेटमेंट में बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन है. वो क्या इंफॉर्मेशन है? पार्ट 1, यू ट्राई टू अटेम्प्ट द एंटायर लीगल सेक्शन. कोशिश ज़्यादातर लोगों की होती है कि हम लीगल सेक्शन में वी विल अटेम्प्ट एवरीथिंग, विच शुड नॉट बी द माइंड सेट. आई एम नॉट सेइंग डोंट अटेम्प्ट एवरीथिंग, बट मैं आपको सिर्फ ये बता रहा हूँ कि अगर आपका ये माइंड सेट होगा, it will create a lot of problem for you. Second part, first part is attempting everything. Second part with 100% accuracy. Now what does it mean? कि अगर आपका mock, when you are attempting your mocks, if you were able to attempt the legal aptitude section in 30 minutes, usually in the final exam you will end up giving 35 minutes to 40 minutes to the LA section. Why? Because आपके माइंड में ये बार बार आ रहा है कि यू कांट गेट दिस इनकरेक्ट, यू हैव टू गेट इट करेक्ट, एंड ऑल ऑफ अस आर ट्राइंग टू गेट 100% एक्यूरेसी इन द लीगल सेक्शन. कितने लोगों के साथ ये अक्सर होते हैं? व्हेन दे आर अटेम्प्टिंग LA, दे जस्ट फील दैट दे शुड attempt everything and the accuracy also has to be 100%. At least the mindset is that only. Please respond in the chat box. Tanu says, sir, sometimes there's a very fine difference between two options like yes, no. How do we come through this? I'll come to that, Tanu, but मुझे पहले आप सब लोग ये बताएं, how many times you go with the mindset that you have to attempt 100% and 100% accuracy? Tanu is saying yes. Khushi again yes, right? So the mindset is going to be very very important for everyone. अगर आपका mindset वहाँ पे सही होगा तभी आपका LA सेक्शन सही होने वाला है। I keep saying this कि बहुत सारे लोग when they go for the exam they believe that their LA section is going to be their best section, but by the end of the paper they realize that LA section शायद उनका अच्छा होना चाहिए था, but they have done better in some other section, और वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ इसी रीजन से आता है because of our mindset, right, that we want to attempt everything and we want to attempt everything with 100% accuracy, which is not possible, right? वो पॉसिबल नहीं है, कहीं ना कहीं आपसे एरर होगा, यू शुड बी ओके विद इट, ठीक है। डोंट रिलाई ऑन प्रायर लीगल नॉलेज और गेस वर्क। इसके ऊपर बहुत सारी देयर आर लॉट ऑफ यूट्यूब वीडियोज ऑन हाउ टू गो अबाउट LA, एंड हम बहुत कुछ पढ़ते भी हैं, बट मैं आपको एक चीज़ बताऊंगा, आपके सामने एक या दो क्वेश्चंस इवन इन द फाइनल एग्जाम वो ऐसा हो सकते हैं जहां पर लीगल नॉलेज को यूज किया गया हो टू गेट टू द आंसर, बट यू डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट, राइट, बिकॉज अगर आपने अभी भी अपना अप्रोच चेंज किया एंड यू ट्राई एंड यूज योर लीगल नॉलेज टू अटेम्प्ट दीज लीगल एप्टीट्यूड questions, you could be in a lot of trouble, right? So don't do that. We are okay letting go of those 1 or 2 marks, but हमारा जो overall score है LA का वो अच्छा हो जाएगा अगर हम सिर्फ और सिर्फ लीगल रीजनिंग पे फोकस करेंगे। एंड अगर हम लीगल रीजनिंग पे फोकस कर रहे हैं तो वर्ड्स लाइक नॉट और इनकरेक्ट, मे बी, राइट, ऑल दीज वर्ड्स, राइट, जो अभी तक आपने बहुत सारा प्रैक्टिस भी किया होगा इन चीज़ों के को लेकर, इन चीज़ों के बारे में, तो उन सब चीज़ों के बारे में अगर आप और अच्छे से ऐसे वर्ड्स को अगर आप ज़्यादा अच्छे से देख पाएंगे ड्यूरिंग द एग्जाम, यूजली होता नहीं है ना, मैं बिल्कुल क्लियर रहूँगा, यूजली होता नहीं है, बिकॉज जहाँ पे वर्ड जिस पे ध्यान देना होता है वो भी नहीं हो पा रहा होता है, बिकॉज देर इज सो मच गोइंग ऑन इन आवर हेड, राइट। सो बट आप इस बात का ध्यान रखिएगा कि लीगल रीजनिंग जब आप सॉल्व कर रहे हैं तो आपका जो फोकस है वो ज़्यादा इन वर्ड्स के ऊपर होना चाहिए है। यूजली होता क्या है, हमारा फोकस ज़्यादा कोड लीगल कॉन्सेप्ट्स के ऊपर ज़्यादा होता है, जैसे कि भी हमने बात किया, दे कुड बी अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ VNFI, तो आपको फील होगा यार VNFI तो मैंने किया हुआ है, इट शुड बी गुड, राइट, आई हैव डन दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक, नहीं, लेकिन वहाँ पर इवन अगर आपने वो टॉपिक किया हुआ है, देयर कुड बी समथिंग एल्स, राइट, सो वी आर मोर कंसर्न अबाउट दैट समथिंग एल्स, जो आपने किया हुआ है वो तो हो ही जाएगा, बट आर यू एबल टू डिकोड व्हाट दैट समथिंग एल्स इज देयर इन द पेपर। तो अगर आप उसको ज़्यादा अच्छे से देख पाएंगे, समझ पाएंगे, तो आपके एरर्स कम होंगे, राइट। सो द बिगेस्ट टेक अवे फॉर अस वो क्या है, पहली चीज़, डोंट अटेम्प्ट or don't try to attempt everything in LA, right, and secondly don't aim for 100% accuracy, वो आएगी which is very good, right, but why I'm saying this, because you will end up giving more time to LA because you want 100% accuracy। जैसा अभी आपने बताया, I think there was a question here, Tanu asked, right, sir, sometimes there is a very fine difference between two options like yes yes, no no, how do we come through this, right? पहली चीज तो इसका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए उस पर हम अभी आते हैं, बट द बिगर प्रॉब्लम इज कि अगर मॉक में आपने ऐसे सवाल के लिए अगर 3 से 4 सेकंड्स दिए थे, तो क्या फाइनल एग्जाम में आप ऐसे सवाल के लिए कांट यू, और मे बी यू माइट गिव 15 to 20 seconds, yes or no, होगा ना ये, because you're not sure and you want to be 100% sure now, so you will read those options again and again, you will go back to the passage, you will try to make some sense of it, right? So don't let that thing happen, तनु, तो ये इस चीज़ का ध्यान रखिएगा। इसीलिए यूजली LA में जो हम अटेम्प्ट्स नॉर्मली सोच कर जाते हैं, हमारा अटेम्प्ट्स उससे कम हो जाते हैं या एरर ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं, तो डोंट लेट that thing happen, okay? ठीक है, so now we will come to the passages also, we'll try and see, we will solve these passages and then we'll also try and see कि अगर 2 yes हैं और 2 no हैं, तो वहाँ पर what and how you should go about that, आपको वहाँ पे क्या चीज़ पे फोकस लेकर आना चाहिए, so we will talk about that as well. Also sir, how do we comprehend unconventional like miscellaneous laws. Tanu, for this class also we have tried to take more topics from uh, unconventional uh, areas, right? So उस पे अभी हम देखते हैं, लेकिन simple क्या है? First thing, if you see such topics, हमारा पहला रिएक्शन क्या होगा? अरे यार ये क्यों आया, राइट? ऑब्वियसली यही होगा. आई एम सेइंग डोंट हैव एनी एक्सपेक्टेशन. Don't have this expectation that you will get questions on law of torts, or you will get a like मक्खन सा सवाल मिलेगा हमको आर्टिकल 14 के ऊपर या आर्टिकल 21 के ऊपर. वाई इज दैट? बिकॉज ये एक्सपेक्टेशन उस दिन आपको बहुत ज़्यादा आपके माइंडसेट के साथ बहुत सारे इश्यूज हो सकते हैं अगर आप ऐसा सोचेंगे, राइट? आप मानकर चलिए कि एलए के अंदर भी यू आर गोइंग टू गेट अ लॉट ऑफ दीज टॉपिक्स जो शायद आपने पहले से इतने अच्छे से नहीं देखे होंगे, राइट? एंड Tanu, what we do is that we try to comprehend those passages just like our VA or just like our logical reasoning passages, right? तो आपको सिर्फ देखना है कि लैंग्वेज वही होगा, लेकिन यहाँ पर जो रीजनिंग है बस वहाँ पर कुछ एक जो चीज़ें हैं, राइट? वी हैव टू फोकस ऑन फ्यू वर्ड्स, विच इज द सेम विद CR एज वेल एक्चुअली, राइट? बट लीगल रीजनिंग क्या है कि जो लॉ आपको दिया गया है, वी जस्ट हैव टू स्टक टू दैट, right? So in other words, if you don't have that expectation, आपको ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं आएगी. लेकिन अगर हम उस एक्सपेक्टेशन के साथ आते हैं कि नहीं नहीं यार, आई हैव डन सो मच ऑफ एलए, मैंने पूरा एलए किया हुआ है, लॉ ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, आईपीसी के सेक्शंस तक याद है मुझे, और वहाँ पे सवाल आता है फॉर एग्जांपल फ्रॉम एम्प्लॉयज़ प्रोविडेंट फंड रूल्स के ऊपर, एनीथिंग, राइट? कुछ भी आता है. सो आपको सिर्फ क्या देखना है कि वहाँ पर, लेकिन उस लॉ को एक्सप्लेन जहाँ पे किया होगा, वहाँ पर जो टर्म्स हैं वो बहुत सिमिलर यूज की गई होंगी, वॉइड की बात की गई होगी, या बताया गया होगा कि कब ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. तो यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन दैट पार्ट, राइट? आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग स्पेसिफिक, राइट? सो ये वाला भी अगेन, आई मीन, if you're expecting this, then there could be a problem, right? That's all I'm trying to say, right? That if you're expecting something, that is not right, because आपको, you may always say कि नहीं इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, but आपको एग्जाम डे पे इन सब चीज़ों का बहुत फर्क पड़ता है कि आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे. और ये खासकर एलए में होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जीके में मोस्टली वी डोंट हैव एनी एक्सपेक्टेशन. हमें पता है कि बहुत ही वास्ट पूल है क्वेश्चंस का, है ना? वहाँ से कुछ भी आ सकता है, बट कुछ एक चीज़ों में, एंड एलए उनमें से, लीगल एप्टीट्यूड में व्हाट वी हैव सीन इज कि हमारा कहीं ना कहीं एक हल्का सा व्हाट यू कॉल एक बायस होता है हमारा, है ना? हमारा बायस क्या होता है कि अगर हमने ये किया हुआ है, इतने अच्छे से किया हुआ है, तो शायद यहाँ से क्वेश्चंस आएंगे या आते हैं, राइट? सो आई डोंट थिंक वो होना चाहिए है. Okay, so legal do's, underline important points, all of this I'm sure आपने ये किया हुआ है. Understand the reasoning behind an answer instead of guesswork. तो अगर आपको reasoning से अगर आप yes पे आ रहे हैं, जो भी किसी ने सवाल ही पूछा था कि if there are two yes, right, तो how do we differentiate? तो always go with that yes जहाँ पे आप उसको पैसेज के साथ relate कर पा रहे हैं, और there is some phrase in the passage which is going with that particular option. तो आपको ये देखना होगा कि आपका रीजनिंग yes का जो था, which is going in your head, तो वो क्या सेम रीजनिंग है जो कि आपको पैसेज में दिया गया है. और इसके लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या है कि आपका भी जो माइंड में भी yes और no आ रहा है, that should be based on some reason, not because you got emotional कि हाँ कि ऐसा ही हुआ होगा. That cannot be the case, right? So eliminate stress by eliminating question where you have to read it more than twice. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है लीगल एप्टीट्यूड सेक्शन के लिए. अगर आपको कोई सवाल 2 बार पढ़ना पड़ रहा है, 3 बार पढ़ना पड़ रहा है, प्लीज डोंट अटेम्प्ट दैट क्वेश्चन, इवन इफ यू गेट दैट क्वेश्चन राइट. लेकिन जो आप स्ट्रेस जो आप ले रहे हैं उसकी वजह से आपके बाकी के क्वेश्चंस पे उसका डेफिनेटली इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा. राइट, स्टिक टू सेक्शनल टाइम लिमिट एंड फॉर लास्ट फ्यू डेज लीगल टर्म्स, लीगल मैगजीम्स, राइट, वो आप पढ़ सकते हैं. एंड फाइनली revise on the LA section from the mocks. That's very, very important. Whatever mocks you have attempted so far, whenever you feel or whenever you feel demotivated, है ना, इस वर्ड पे ही आ जाते हैं, demotivated. At times you feel कि नहीं हो पा रहा है. For example, of late we have been hearing a lot of students saying that their LA score was going up, but now they have reached a plateau and it is not moving. और बहुत सारे लोगों ने ये बोला कि शायद अब उनका स्कोर कम होता जा रहा है, तो you feel nothing is working for you. तब what you have to do, you have to go back and look at the LA section from the mocks which you have already attempted, right? जो आपने already attempt किया है, try to understand कि क्या अब जब आप उस पैसेज, सेम पैसेज को पढ़ते हैं, क्या अब आप उन कीवर्ड्स पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे पा रहे हैं? जो भी आपका लर्निंग्स रहा है, मे बी यू विल नॉट रिमेंबर द आंसर, राइट, एंड विच इज़ परफेक्टली फाइन, बट कैन यू now understand the reasoning behind that particular answer, behind that particular question? If you can do that, that will be great. Okay, so and I will also go to the extent of saying that there is no need to revise legal aptitude now. There is no need to revise core legal concepts. If you are looking back at your mocks, if you are revising your mocks, that's a good enough revision for your core legal concepts as well. I hope I'm clear on that. Right? Okay. Chaliye. Okay, so I'm used to Zoom more, right? And so I think there's a slight lag when I ask something and when I get the response back. Thank you, Tanu. Right. So okay, so let's now look at few passages. Let's try and solve few passages, and then we can look at the questions as well. I hope you have the file, or you can read the passage here itself. Let me know when to move ahead. I will wait for your responses. Yes, you have read this. Okay. Chalo. Now this passage, right, which is in front of you, right, again miscellaneous में आएगा, intellectual property. Although I'm hoping that you guys are now aware of what a copyright is, or what intellectual property or IPR is, right? That's great. Okay, Tanu, we will wait for like maybe a few more seconds so that others can also read it. Shall we move on to the questions now? Okay, Kunal. Okay, great. Let's start with hi Kunal. It's good afternoon, Kunal. But that's okay. I think nowadays for you guys, morning, afternoons, nights. I mean, everything is morning only. Huh, Kunal? Chalo, let's look at question one. Okay, great. So now we are getting few options here, guys. Everyone else as well. What should be the answer? Okay, so most of you are going with C. So let's assume C. Okay, so now this is very interesting because चलो let's first look at the answer. So B is the right answer, C is not the right answer. और जो तनु what you were asking कि अगर no है दोनों options में, this is exactly that type of a question where both the options were saying no, but we have to choose one of the two. So again, before I explain this, what was your reasoning for C? If you guys can quickly help me out with your reasoning. Anyone? Okay, B was vague. C was explanatory. Okay, how was C explanatory in nature, right? So C says no, dismissing the claim that Marvel should not have released a competing series of comics. Right? C says no, dismissing the claim that Marvel should not have released a competing series of comics. Tanu, how is this a good reasoning? ये तो सीधा ये बोल रहे हैं कि उनको सीरीज निकालनी ही नहीं चाहिए थी. Right? So in a way, this reasoning is not even flowing from the passage. Exactly, it is advisory in nature. It is not giving us any लीगल अंडरस्टैंडिंग, राइट, कि क्यों नहीं निकालनी चाहिए थी, लेकिन राइट गाइस. सो गाइस देखिए, ये बहुत ही अच्छा फर्स्ट जो क्वेश्चन आया वही लीगल रीजनिंग के पर्सपेक्टिव से बहुत ही शानदार एक सवाल है, राइट, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ यू आर सेइंग दैट सी should be the answer. But if you look at option C, C is not giving us any reason. It just says कि नहीं करना चाहिए था, but पूरा जो पैसेज था which was on copyright law वो आपको ये बता रहा था कि नहीं करना अगर चाहिए, but why, right? When is there a violation of this law, right? Now coming back to option B now, right? For me the biggest टेक अवे, और लाइक नो नॉट टेक अवे, यहाँ पे जो सबसे अच्छा हिंट दिया गया था आप लोगों के लिए वो ये दिया गया था, violated their copyright for the concept of a team of outlaws turning into saviors to defeat villains, a concept they had previously introduced. Now read this statement again. A team of outlaws turning into saviors to defeat villains. Can I have a copyright over this idea? Isn't this the idea on based on which all the movies are being made or shot? है ना, हर मूवी में क्या हो रहा है, राइट? देयर इज अ हीरो. Dichotomy means relationship, right? दोनों का आपस में how do you look at this? Okay, guys, फटाफट बताएं, isn't this the case, right? If you think about it, तो यही हो रहा है ना, हर मूवी का जो आइडिया है. सो कैन वी से दैट दिस इज माय आइडिया? नो, राइट? सो आइडिया एक्सप्रेशन डायकॉटमी का जो यहाँ पे जिस सेंस में जो रिलेशनशिप की बात की गई है कि हाउ डू दे यू नो हाउ आर दे रिलेटेड, और इन अदर वर्ड्स रिलेटेड इन द सेंस कि कैसे अलग हैं वो, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक आइडिया मेरा आइडिया हो सकता है, बट हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू एक्सप्रेस दैट इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी मोर इंपॉर्टेंट, not the general idea. For example, I can have 100 of ideas in my head, right? But I can't say that if someone has worked on that idea, I can't say that that was my idea and it's a copyright violation. It will become a copyright violation only when I have chosen a means to express that idea. For example, I have made a website on an app based on that idea, or I'm using that idea further, right? और तब अगर उसका violation होता है, only then we can say that there's a copyright violation. Is it clear, guys? I know it was not supposed to be a AILET teaching class, but I hope the idea is clear now. जो मैं आपको बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ वो आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि copyright law में again it is not just the idea. You cannot get a copyright just for a mere idea, right? बकुल एंड यहाँ पे जो आप डायकॉटमी वर्ड की जो बात कर रहे हैं, जो मैं आपको रिलेशनशिप की बात बता रहा हूँ, वो एक्चुअली में रिलेशनशिप इस सेंस में यूज होता है कि दे आर नॉट द सेम, राइट? तो उनका जो वो अपोजिंग नेचर है उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट है, दैट्स हाउ, और दैट्स व्हेयर वी यूज द वर्ड डायकॉटमी. ये दो हैं और दोनों ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, राइट? यहाँ पे ये निकल के आ रहा है कि ये दोनों चीजें, आइडिया भी है लेकिन आइडिया इज समथिंग एल्स, एक्सप्रेशन इज समथिंग एल्स, है ना? तो दोनों का रिलेशनशिप कैसे इंपैक्ट करेगा, ये क्वेश्चन था. इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीवन? व्हाई इज बी अ बेटर आंसर, राइट? बिकॉज सी वाज नॉट गिविंग अस द रीजनिंग एट ऑल, राइट? सी में कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं था जिससे हमको ये क्लियर हो पाए कि why is no the answer. And Tanu, I hope you're also understanding how to choose between two no's, right? Because if you will again read this option C, you will yourself realize that it was not giving away anything, right? It was not giving us any reasoning, any legal reasoning. Okay, चलिए क्वेश्चन 2 पे आते हैं. Okay, B option, C option. Passage, you want to see the passage again? Okay, I think I'll have to go back. Or is it okay if we just go ahead? Tanu? By the way, if you ask me, it is not required. If you ask me, Tanu, that do we, after reading this question, I can tell you that you don't require to go back to the passage. Okay, great, great. Right. So, few of you are saying B, few of you are saying C. Someone is saying A as well. Okay, so there is, oh my God, so there is A also, B also, C also. No one is saying D, uh, which happens to be the right answer. Okay, so guys, D is the right answer. Okay, so LA class, which again, I don't know how you guys gonna take this, but uh, let's start one by one. Please give me the reasons for your answers. Tanu, I know, and I will try my best, right? That we are able to solve a lot of such questions so that whatever confusion is there, and by the way, you also have to understand this confusion is only with reasoning. I know that you guys know the concept. मुझे मालूम है कि आपको ये concept मालूम है, but ये error आपसे बार बार होगा, right? So let's just look at that. Bakul is saying, sir, I was a little confused between A and B, but I was sure about B. Okay. ठीक है, that's also very good. Okay, so one thumb rule which we use for uh, an option which talks about both A and B. What is that rule? How do we know it is a resemblance? We will come to that, Aditya. How do we know it is a resemblance? We will come to that. Aditya, what is your answer? Okay, you're so sorry. I can see your answer. Yours was A. Okay. Why are we? That's an excellent question here. Aditya पूछ रहे हैं कि how can we know that it is a noted resemblance? Oh, it is not a resemblance. Okay, Aditya, आपने जो लिखा है, that is not clear to me. How do we know that it is a? Arsh is saying yes, sir. A is understandable, but how to be sure about? Okay, very good, right? So मैं हाँ, उस पे आ रहा हूँ. So now I got. It said so exactly, Aditya. It said some similarities. Aditya, see, you are only telling me the answer as well. आप खुद ही बोल रहे हो कि वहां पे क्या लिखा गया था? There are some similarities, but not the whole thing. Now, let me ask you another question, right? अगर यहां पर कॉपीराइट का वायलेशन होना होता तो क्या आपको सवाल में सम सिमिलैरिटीज दिया गया होता? Right? Think about it. Not the, हम Bakul, I'm coming to A as well. Firstly, let's try to understand the problem with option B. अभी तो मैं उसके मेन पार्ट पे आ भी नहीं रहा हूँ. मैं ये बता रहा हूँ कि अगर मूवी के अंदर यहाँ तो एक्चुअली में ये दिया गया था identified some similarities between a specific scene in book A and movie B. Right? यहाँ पे आपको क्या दिया गया था? Identified some similarities between a specific book, a specific scene in book A and movie B. I am saying even if it is not, even if it was not about a scene. लेकिन अगर आपको ये phrase दिया गया था, there was some similarities between a, you know, like few things in the book, and still it is very very difficult for us to conclude that it is a copyright violation. और यहाँ पे तो आपको हेल्प करने के लिए और ज़्यादा क्लियरली क्या दिया गया था आदित्य? That the some similarities but between a specific scene and movie B. Is it clear, Aditya, now? Then they probably would have given that is exactly, Aditya. Excellent. Right? So अगर ये कॉपीराइट वायलेशन का सवाल अगर हमको ये आंसर पे लेके आना होता कि इट वाज अ वायलेशन ऑफ समवन्स कॉपीराइट, तो वहां पे क्या दिया हुआ था कि देयर वाज लॉट ऑफ things or uncanny similarity or like some word which will try to take you to the side कि यार जो similarity थी that was something else, right? So B is clear. Why B is an excellent option? Because the noted resemblance is not significant enough, right? It is only talking about a scene. Is it clear? Right? So कितने लोगों का B था option? B option भी था, and now someone is saying how do we know A is the answer? Or is it clear? A, I think all of you got A, right? B को लेके issue था कि why is B the answer? Okay? Anyone? Okay, so and I'm waiting for your answers. I'm waiting for your reasoning, right? If you have any more doubt, please ask me, right? Bakul, no sir is not clear. You'll have to ask me, right? What do you want to say here? But मैं आपको तब तक एक थंब रूल क्या बता रहा था. अगर आपको कोई भी ऐसा ऑप्शन मिलता है जहाँ पे both A and B guys लिखा होता है, तो unless one of the options is incorrect, factually incorrect, right? जब तक दोनों में से एक ऑप्शन फैक्चुअली इनकरेक्ट नहीं है, तब तक दैट ऑप्शन विच इज टॉकिंग अबाउट बोथ दीज ऑप्शंस बिकम्स द बेस्ट पॉसिबल आंसर. Am I clear, right? So you can always say that B is a better answer than A, or A is a better answer than B. राइट? सो लेकिन वो आंसर जो है आपका वो आंसर आपको लेकर आना है कि क्या हो सकता है, राइट? सो बकुल इज सेइंग सर हाउ ए इज देयर इज नो रेफरेंस टुवर्ड्स द परसेप्शन ऑफ द पीपल. बकुल, okay, so I think I can go back for this. Just give me 1 second, guys. let me show you something here. Right? Okay, so guys, passage 1, read point number 3. Bakul, read point number 3. Whether an average viewer, after having read or seen both the works. Guys, point 3, test क्या है? They are saying this is the test, whether an average viewer. Okay, I did not read the passage. Now, oh, Bakul, how can you not read the passage? I just talked about it, right? When you're solving legal aptitude questions, please read the passages carefully. Otherwise, like, okay, so ठीक है. But, so, guys, all of you got the answer. Again, you may sound that someone else's argument is not your argument, but please pay attention to their arguments. Why? Because हो सकता है कि एग्जाम में ये आर्गुमेंट आपका हो. तो यहाँ पे आपको क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में it started with the phrase a film and book critique. So obviously guys, अगर एक शख्स जिसका काम दोनों को एनालाइज करना है, जहाँ पे आपको क्रिटिक का मतलब क्या है, यही हुआ ना, that someone is going through that and with the idea of writing about it, तो obviously उनका जो तरीका होगा चीज़ों को देखने का वो अलग होगा ना बकुल, right? Someone who is depending on this, or like जो for someone जिनका we can say it is their bread and butter, so their way of looking at things will be very different, right? For example, I have a friend, right, who works with FM, and whenever I'm sitting with him, he tells me so many songs which have been copied from across the globe. Why? Because of his understanding of music, and whenever he listens to a new tune, right, he can remember that ये इसने कहीं पे और, but that's his job, right? And maybe for a normal person like me, I would never be able to guess that, है ना? तो ये फर्क था कि वहाँ पे passage was talking about the average viewer or average reader, और यहाँ पे आपको दिया गया था that this is more about a book critic. Okay, okay, I think is it clear now, Bakul? Okay, so we can move on to the third one. Chalo. Okay, so I hope you guys are now feeling the heat as well, because you have to get at least the last 3 questions correct now. Okay, so a lot of you are saying B. Okay, And no, B is no, as Walt Disney Productions produced the original film. Okay, I will still wait. I have not received other uh, people's answers, right? So I will wait for 5 more seconds. Bakul, Tanu, Anushka has answered. Guys, please type your answer. Type in your answers. Okay, so B is the right answer. Okay, great. You all of you got it right, right? So as Walt Disney Productions produced the original film, there is no question of copyright infringement, because if it's a remake, there is no need to check for infringement. Original owner has the right to create a remake, right? So this was like straightforward one. By the way, the catch was कि अगर आपके पहले दो गलत हो जाते हैं in the paper, what is going to happen is that if you are confused, और अगर आपने ज़्यादा टाइम लगाया, तो because of that panic you may get these easy questions also incorrect. Just don't let that thing happen. Okay, chalo, question number 4. Let's just try to increase the reading speed now a bit. Great. B is the right answer, because they own the rights to the original musical. So that is the straightforward reasoning here. Great. Let's look at question number 5. Okay, so yes, I think I've only got two people responding to this one, but it's a no, I would not say straightforward one, because I think option C can be a little tricky अगर आपने इसको पहले नहीं समझा है, अगर आपने नहीं पढ़ा है, तो ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी हो सकता है. बट अनलाइक योर patent or your trademark, copyright doesn't require registration, right? It automatically comes into existence at the creation of an original work, no matter how many sheets you are creating, और कितना भी आपने नया म्यूजिक क्यों ना क्रिएट किया हो, आपको उस हर चीज़ पे कॉपीराइट मिलता है जो कि आपने क्रिएट किया है, राइट? और इसको बहुत बार हम द confusion comes from the side कि what if a person has say written 1000 songs, तो क्या सारे 1000 songs पे कॉपीराइट मिलेगा? Yes or no? Even when the songs have not been used anywhere. Guys, फटाफट से बताओ, the songs have not been used anywhere, but the guy has written 1000 songs. Will he get copyright on all 1000 songs? Excellent, right? So that's the clarity you need to have, that it will not matter whether the songs have been used or not, अगर उनका ओरिजिनल काम है, right? So copyright does not require registration. Yes, the answer is yes. Great, right? But the problem with this passage, as you can clearly see, by the way, जो इस passage में हुआ है वही मोस्टली एग्जाम में भी होगा. क्या होगा कि यूजुअली द स्टार्टिंग टू क्वेश्चंस, एक पैसेज में जो जो स्टार्ट के दो सवाल होते हैं ना, दे आर यूजुअली ऑन द टफर साइड. तो और अभी भी यही हुआ दैट मोस्ट ऑफ यू गॉट द लास्ट 3 करेक्ट, बट ऑलमोस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू गॉट द फर्स्ट 2 इनकरेक्ट. आई थिंक एक दो लोगों का हुआ होगा, बट आई होप यू गेट माई पॉइंट दैट जस्ट डोंट एज्यूम कि अगर एक पैसेज का पहला सवाल बहुत मुश्किल है तो उसके आगे वाले क्वेश्चंस भी ऐसा होने वाले हैं. बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. आपको सिर्फ देखना क्या है कि इफ यू आर कॉट अप, या आपको पहला वाला सवाल बहुत ज़्यादा कंफ्यूजिंग लग रहा है या आपको इरिटेट कर रहा है. आई विल ऑल्सो यूज द वर्ड इरिटेट, राइट, बिकॉज व्हेन आई ऑल्सो गो फॉर द क्लैट एग्जाम आई हेट अटेम्प्टिंग दोज passages which I feel are very irritating. I don't know how to explain this, but you guys know it, है ना. बहुत सारे passages आपको आते भी होते हैं, but आपको पढ़ने का मन नहीं होता है उनको, right? So that will also, you know, play on your mind. तो अगर आपको कभी ऐसा feel भी हो रहा है कि the first question is not like you're not able to understand it, just skip that. Okay? So इसको याद रखिएगा. This will help you a lot. You can always come back to that question later on. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लॉ, है ना तनु, वो भी होता है. बिल्कुल राइट. सो यू कैन ऑलवेज कम बैक टू सच क्वेश्चंस, बट अगर आप उसी टाइम पे उसके ऊपर इतना टाइम स्पेंड करेंगे गाइस, वो आपका एक सवाल ठीक हो जाएगा, बट इट विल हैव अ इम्पैक्ट ऑन योर LA सेक्शन and your exam as well. So please try to avoid that. I hope I'm clear on that. Okay, so this is the right answer. थोड़ा सा मैं बोलूँगा कि बिल्कुल थोड़ा सा प्रायर नॉलेज इन्वॉल्व था, लेकिन थोड़ा मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज अगर आपने कॉपीराइट लॉ को समझा है कहीं पर भी या कहीं पर भी पढ़ा है, तो ये आई थिंक एजम्पशन भी होगा हमारा कि आपको ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि उसका रजिस्ट्रेशन रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है. Isn't that so? Yes or no? If you have read about copyright law or if you have read about intellectual property right, तो ये assumption होगा ना कि इतना सा तो आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि कॉपीराइट जहां पे हम बोल रहे हैं कि सब सारे क्रिएटर्स को मिल रहा होगा, तो इट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल टू रजिस्टर दैट. ओके, सो मे बी अगर आपको नॉलेज से नहीं आ रहा था तो शायद आपको इसको सोच कर लॉजिकली हम इस कंक्लूजन में पहुंच सकते हैं कि इट इज़ नॉट ह्यूमनली पॉसिबल फॉर द क्रिएटर्स टू गेट ऑल द copyrights for their work. Right guys? Okay, chalo, let's look at passage 2. Again, for example, अगर इस साल के CLAT में ये passage 2 अगर CLAT में भी passage 2 होगा, तो I will surely not attempt this in the first go. I don't know about you guys, but I will definitely have a look at this after I have done all the other passages. So please share in the comment box as well. What will you do with such a passage? Will you attempt it in the first go or not? And then read the passage as well. Guys, before you okay, read it first, but I'm still waiting for you guys to respond to my first question. Would you attempt it in the first go? Yes or no? You would try to, Riddhima, excellent. Okay. Now, Riddhima, आपकी स्टेटमेंट में कितना कंफ्यूजन है? आई वुड ट्राई टू, मतलब यस ना? ट्राई टू का तो यही मतलब हुआ कि यस यू विल अटेम्प्ट इट. वहां पे जाके मैं ये नहीं सोच सकते ना कि लेट मी ट्राई दिस, होता है कि नहीं होता. यस यस, है ना. तो बी गाइस, बी वेरी श्योर व्हाट पैसेज यू आर अटेम्प्टिंग. और अगर आपने उसको शुरू कर लिया है, आपको मालूम है ना कि उसको बीच में छोड़ना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है, स्पेशली ऑन डी डे, राइट. तो मैंने तो पहला ही कॉल लिया, आई विल नॉट. रिधिमा इज सेइंग शी विल. व्हाट अबाउट अदर्स? Mr. Devil is saying skip. Okay. Nice. So guys, shall we move on to the questions now? And you can also take a picture of this so that when you are reading the questions, if you want to look at the uh, passage again, you may do that. In case, I mean, you're not attending this through the phone actually, yeah. So in that case, it is not possible. Okay, let's look at questions number 6. A and B. Okay, so with like yes and no, we've got both the answers. Uh, Riddhima is now saying B. Okay, so B is the right answer because the passage clearly mentions that prior to the passing of this act, women had no property rights. Okay, और आपको जो हिंट दिया गया था वो क्या दिया गया था? द ईयर 1931. सो गाइज, सिंपल रूल क्या है लीगल रीजनिंग में? वेर एवर यू सी ईयर्स स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन, वहाँ पे क्लियरली समथिंग हैज़ टू डू विद द लॉ फाइनली कमिंग इन टू फोर्स. तो आपको वो देखना होगा कि वो ईयर आपको क्यों दिया गया है, राइट? दे कांट बी एनी अदर रीजन फॉर दिस, राइट? अगर आपको एक ईयर के बारे में बताया गया कि इस साल में हुआ, दैट मीन्स कि बिल में कुछ ना कुछ बात किया गया होगा, राइट? सो देयर इज सम इंफॉर्मेशन विच हैज़ बीन given to you in the passage itself. Just you can go directly there and look at what information has been given. Okay, so first one was pretty easy. I think the passage looked जो हम वर्ड यूज करते कि स्लाइटली डिफरेंट, है ना, यहाँ जो मैं वर्ड यूज़ करता कि मेरे लिए तो खैर थोड़ा सा वो था कि आई वुड नॉट वांट टू रीड इन द फर्स्ट गो, बट फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वाज इजीली मैनेजेबल, राइट, तो डुएबल था, ये क्लियरली निकल के आ रहा है। क्वेश्चन नंबर 7। Vedika, Aditya, Arsh, okay, so you guys are sticking to B, and B is the right answer. Okay, option B is correct, as the passage explicitly states that women only have a limited share in their husband's property. तो वो share भी अगर है, that is a limited share, not as an absolute owner, and that is the right answer. B is the right answer. Great. Perfect, right? So let's move on to question number 8. So far so good. I think कितना interesting है that the first passage which was on intellectual property, जो हमें लग रहा था कि we know it, वहाँ पर the first two questions we got incorrect. This passage which we felt that it is a very unconventional one, और शायद हमको ज़्यादा जानकारी नहीं होगी इसके बारे में, यहाँ पर we have got, most of you have got the first two questions correct, right? So ये भी आपको ध्यान में रखना है कि आपको कैसे, how to choose these passages. Okay, question number 8. Question number 8. Guys, there are like too many B's now, so if you can write 8B, that'll be great. Or like from next question onwards, if you can do that, right? If you can type the question number as well. I hope that's not too much of a task. Okay, so most of you are going with B. Okay, or anyone wants to have a different answer? 8 is B. Okay, B is the right answer, because the act clearly states that it applies only to Mitaksha family systems. Again, दोनों family systems के बारे में आपको अगर नहीं भी मालूम है, that's what we talked about right at the start of this session, that we need not worry too much about these core legal concepts, that what exactly is a Daya Bhaga joint family, right? हमको जानने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. So even if you are solving mocks और कहीं पर भी आपको ये issues आ रहे हैं, don't open or go to Google and start reading about what is a Daya Bhaga joint family or a Mitaksha, right? We need not do that. You will get like, आपको बहुत ज़्यादा confusion हो जाएगा अगर आप इस level पर जाकर इन concepts को समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. Okay, question number 9. Aditya, that was excellent. I mean, the speed was excellent. I don't know about the answer, Aditya, but the speed was very good. We'll see the answer now. But I was impressed by the speed. Okay, so at times, yeah, you have to just go for it. Great. And okay, let's see. C is the right answer. All of you got it correct. और ये क्यों है? बिकॉज विडोज राइट इज ऑल्सो लिमिटेड, राइट. आपको ये वाइफ का राइट लिमिटेड है, विडो का राइट लिमिटेड है, एंड शी कैन नॉट एलिनेट द प्रॉपर्टी इन एनी मैनर इंक्लूडिंग थ्रू अ विल. जो राइट उनको मिल रहा है, शी कैन ओनली फर्दर गिव अवे दैट, राइट. आप वो पूरा जो है प्रॉपर्टी का राइट वो उनको नहीं मिलता है, एंड दैट्स द रीजन शी कैन नॉट एलिनेट it through a will. So I hope that it is clear to everyone. I'll just move on because I think all of you have got it correct. There's no confusion. If you guys have any confusion, please do ask me. And so far so good. I think you've got all the answers correct for this particular passage, which is great. Tenth ka C. Okay. Everyone. Tenth, guys. 10th. Question number 10. Aditya is also saying C. Okay, so most of you are going with option C. Okay, let's look at the answer. The answer is option C. Now, right, again, widow share goes to the legal heirs of a deceased husband. So most of you, all of you got it correct, right? 10, yeah, all of you got it correct. Okay, ठीक है. So as I was saying, passage 1 looked familiar, looked easy also, but we got I think 2 or 3 incorrect there. Passage 2 looked not very familiar, मुश्किल लग रहा था, but the questions based on these passages, right, they were quite straightforward, right? So all of you, I think, have gotten all the questions correct, right? So let's move on to passage 3. Let's now move on to partnership. unable to see the last line. Aditya, the last line says, thus where two persons agreed to produce a film and share the profits of hiring it out, that was held to be sufficient to constitute a partnership. I repeat, thus where two persons agreed to produce a film and share the profits of hiring it out, that was held to be sufficient to constitute a partnership. Done, Aditya? Is it fine now? Where two persons agreed to produce a film and share the profits of hiring it out, that was held to be sufficient to constitute a partnership. So the passage uh, just talks about what a partnership is, right? और किन cases में हम किसी चीज़ को partnership में लेकर आ सकते हैं under section 2B of the Indian Partnership Act. Okay? Okay, done. All of you, can we move ahead? Chal, let's look at question 11. A straightforward one. Anushka, well done with respect to the time, right? So, because I have not received any other answer so far, right? So, well done with the speed part. Guys, okay, now I'm getting more responses, which is good. More responses. It should be a 15 to 20-second problem, right? Not more than that. More responses. Okay, 3 is good enough, right? So it just said, right? आपके लिए बहुत सिंपल आपको ये सवाल बनाकर दिया गया था. Why? Because there was a clear phrase which said they were not interested in profits or losses, right? Passage में क्या दिया गया था? The business must have the intention of making profits or losses. Obviously, no one wants to make a loss, but the understanding is that the intention is to run it like a partnership, and then it means that you will make profits or losses. तो यहाँ पे ये intention ही नहीं था, so that is the reason this cannot be considered to be a partnership. Next question. Okay, very good. A is the right answer. Right, A is the right answer. Again, pretty straightforward, isn't it? I need not explain this, right? Profit sharing indicates the potential for success in the activity. और यहाँ पे दिया गया था कि they were sharing. It's just Aditya. It's just another way of saying that they are together in this, right? Obviously, whenever Aditya, जब हमारा कोई partnership होगा, तो the idea is to make uh, profits only, right? So the idea always is, it's then and but what was the other close option? Eliminated, Aditya. Excellent, right? है ना? तो कितना स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड था कि और कोई भी ऑप्शन इसके पास नहीं आ रहा था. बट अगर आप इस फ्रेज को आदित्य समझें तो आपको ये इतना वेग भी नहीं लगेगा, बिकॉज जो पैसेज बात कर रहा है कि पार्टनरशिप इज इन द commercial sense more, right? Where you want to start something with someone else and you try to make it, you want to make money out of it, and you are okay कि अगर profit होगा, loss होगा, so it is more on the commercial side, and that's what this phrase is trying to tell you here. Yeah, motive आप बोल सकते हैं यहाँ पर, right? I was avoiding that word here, right? But yeah, you can say like that as well. ठीक है? Is it clear to everyone? Why is the answer A? Because, and again, you could have easily reached this option through elimination as well, right? कुछ भी और आसपास भी नहीं था. Okay, question number 13. Excellent. Okay, so again, just for the speed part. Okay, so most of you got it correct. C is the right answer. क्या दिया गया था? Nakia started a voluntary association, and part 2 of the question further said a diverse group of volunteers from across the nation joins this association. How do we call this a partnership? So again, it was a straightforward one. Most of you, or I think all of you, got it right? And the key part was, guys, trust me, मैं आपको ये बता सकता हूँ कि आपका LA section more or less इन्हीं lines पे आने वाला है. It won't be very very tough for sure, right? I've been appearing for CLAT exam for the last I think 8-10 years now, right? And every time I come out of the exam center, एक ही चीज़ जो आती है दिमाग में वो आती है कि it was doable. You just don't have to panic. You will find questions which are very easy, which are very straightforward. The only thing जो आपको बार बार बता रहा हूँ कि बस, and whatever makes you panic, avoid those things, right? तो अगर वो passage है, avoid such passages. कोई सवाल तंग कर रहा है उसको फिलहाल के लिए बस छोड़ देना. Otherwise you will find questions which are like straight forward flowing from the passage, जिसको हम मक्खन सवाल बोलते हैं. मक्खन सवाल आपको पक्का से मिलेंगे, डेफिनेटली मिलेंगे. ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 14. ओए होए, Anushka, that was excellent. I mean, that was very good. Okay, बहुत ही बढ़िया. the speed was excellent, right? So clearly, even if it is for a short term, they have decided to share the profits and losses made from licensing the podcast. It can be, uh, is this considered business? Yes, right? So, ye, under the act, this can be considered to be a partnership. Excellent. Great, right? So D is the right answer. Clearly, आपको क्या दिया गया है? Ishan does not care about the profits. That was enough for us to reach to this conclusion that this is not a partnership, right? This is not a partnership for sure. Great, guys. Chalo. So far so good. I think after the first passage, we have been able to uh, read the passages well, right, and get to the right answers. So we are improving with the speed also now. So let's move on to passage 4, which is dealing with Juvenile Justice Act. Let's read this. Done. Okay, just reading, after reading the passage, Vedika, what do you think is the most critical piece of information in this passage? एक चीज जो कि काफी ही इंटरेस्टिंग पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन आपको मिल रही है, व्हाट इज दैट? वर यू गाइस एबल टू लोकेट दैट? Sixteen, in case of heinous crimes, they will be tried as adults. Excellent, right? Radhima, Vedika, 16 commits a heinous crime will be considered adult during the trial. Not too sure. Okay, so you have to be sure, right? So what I was referring to is कि information जहाँ हमको एक information दिया जा रहा है, उसी के साथ एक conflicting चीज भी दिया जा रहा है, that for the age between 16 and 17, the punishment maximum sentence is for 2 years, but if the crime committed is heinous in nature, he will be considered as an adult, right? So that is right. जो हल्का सा जो एक इंटरेस्टिंग जो आपको चीज देखना होगा वो क्या है कि किस टाइप का क्राइम है, right? So that's something you should be clear about while reading the passage itself. Okay, question number 16. Straightforward one. Very interesting question. The facts are super. Right? So C, Arav is Arav is not liable because there was no intention to steal, and we can't say uh, that he had the mens rea. Okay, great, perfect. Oh, I think इतना टाइम नहीं लेना चाहिए था guys. This again is a pretty straightforward one. Okay, what took you guys so long to answer this? Was there any confusion? Anushka, Riddhima, Aditya, right? I think the answer was very clear after you had read the first maybe 5 or 6 words. Naisha, a girl aged 5 years, right? Aditya, okay, excellent. So if there's no confusion, I think I'm just uh, talking about the speed part here. Okay, चलिए. So Naisha is not liable. Again, clearly दिया गया था. She was aged 5 years. So she cannot be held liable for any offense. Why? Because there was no mens rea. The passage clearly states that if they are below the age of 7, it is not an offense, right? Okay. Excellent. Riddhima, again, the speed was good. And Anushka, sorry. Anushka, Aditya, great, right? So that's what I was hoping with question number 17 as well. I don't know whether there was a lag or not, but I felt कि question number 17 का answer थोड़ा सा आपने late किया, but 18 is perfectly fine, right? So uh, they are aware of their actions. They break open the locks of a warehouse. It was given to us and steal some valuable parcels, and that's the reason they are liable for theft. Great. Question number 19. Incapable of forming the intent to commit a crime. I think ये तो आपको by now आपको वैसे भी आता होगा, even if it is not given in the passage. Uh, you must have read this a lot of times, right? A lot of times, uh, in a lot of passages. So 19, only one option. Okay, one person has responded. I've got only one response, so that's the reason I was waiting. Okay, so C is the right answer. Dolly in Capax. Guys, you're not aware of this? I only got one response, Aditya. Great. So that's the right answer. C is the right answer. Uh, okay, let's look at question number 20. 20th D, okay, which is incorrect. Huh? And guys, please do remember, I hope ऐसा ना हो, but on the exam day, a lot of times we make errors while reading as well कि कहाँ पर incorrect ढूंढना था और कहाँ पे correct ढूंढना था. I know it may sound uh, crazy, but uh, it may happen to you as well. हमें feel होता है कि हमारे साथ नहीं होगा, but because you're trying to read things, जैसे कि हमने देखा, at times we are trying to read too fast, so this may happen. So just see closely what the option is saying, right? Okay, Aditya is saying A, everyone else is saying D. Okay, Aditya first was saying D, now he's saying A. Okay, uh, right, so the correct answer is D. All the statements are correct. Talking about the person. Person, yeah, yeah. Right? Not the child. Option A is right. So you were, तो वहाँ पे आपको confusion हुआ, but D is the right answer. Person is held criminally responsible only for the acts they intend to commit. Right? तो intention की बात हो रही है, mens rea की बात हो रही है, और उसके बाद ये सब kick in होता है that at the age of 7 there's no mens rea. Right? उसके ऊपर अगर mens rea heavy है तो we will look at something else. Right? So all this comes after that, right? But the first जो basic point है criminal law का, वो क्या है, that someone is liable, criminally liable only for what they intend to commit. Intention, as we have done it before, right? Part of mens rea. Intention, motive, knowledge, right? Everything combined is mens rea. Okay, so guys, D is the right answer. Before we move on to the next passage, you guys want to take a 5-minute break, or should we go ahead with the next passage? Shall we go ahead with the next passage, or you want a 5-minute break? Next passage. Okay, great. Vedika, great. So we'll just move on to the next passage, which is a long read. So I'll give you some more time to read this. Okay. Uh, is it fine now, Riddhima? Guys, we'll share the PDF file also with you if you guys want. Okay, so we'll share the PDF file also with you on the WhatsApp group itself. If you guys want that, you can use that as well to read. Tanishka ma'am, if you can please help me with that. So the last line, the commission held that the appellant availed the services of the bank for a commercial purpose and thus was not a consumer. This is what the passage is saying. Thank you, ma'am. Shall we move on? Right. So, guys, this is a very interesting passage because while you are reading it, you may feel that the passage is on the lengthier side. But if you look at the key part or the key words here, it's very clear कि यहाँ पे बहुत कुछ एक ही कम चीज़ें हैं which are very relevant for us, right? So आपको ये ध्यान देना है कि no matter what you feel यहाँ पे there's very less information जो कि which you can feel or which you can say will be used uh, in order to reach to the answers, right? In order to reach our answers, right? So just looks lengthy, but there's not much to understand here. Isn't that so? let's start with the questions. 1, 2, 3, check, check, guys. Okay, let's start with the questions now. So, guys, question number 21. What should be the answer? 21. What should be the answer? Riddhima, excellent, right? So, it was clearly given to us that a startup entrepreneur who owns a company providing legal solutions to MNCs purchase a laptop for professional use, right? So, B, Vedika is saying B, Riddhima is saying A, okay. Okay, so B is the right answer. B is the right answer here. Why? Because यहाँ पे क्या दिया गया था? Who owns a company and he's a startup entrepreneur, right? And startup entrepreneur का मतलब क्या हुआ? रिद्धिमा यहाँ पर self-employment, right? Though, so the point which you may have confused or which you may have missed is that if it is for self-employment, right? If it is for self employment, तो वो commercial purposes में नहीं आएगा. And if you want, we can go back and let me show you where this was. So it was said that transaction was a commercial purpose would depend on the facts of the case. Last phrase, it cannot be said that the services were availed exclusively for the purpose of earning revenue by means of self-employment. अगर ये case है, if it is for self-employment, then it can be considered as consumer, right? So ये आपको दिया गया था, which was a part of the passage itself. Riddhima. Clear? Okay. Understood, right? So, so I'm reading the second paragraph here, and if you go to the line here, that a person awaiting services for commercial purposes to come within the definition of a consumer under the Act would have to establish that goods or services were availed only for the purposes of earning a livelihood by means of self-employment. Right? So that is the case here. So इसीलिए the answer is B and not A. Clear? Understood? Okay, great. Question number 22. Question number 22. Okay, B, right? But the correct answer is not B. The correct answer is D. It cannot be determined. Why is it so? Because again, you may argue with this answer. You may argue with this answer, but guys, it was not given to us कि laptop किन से लिया गया था. It may sound like a very uh, नॉट अ वेरी सीरियस पॉइंट है ना. आप ये बोल सकते हैं कि बट यहाँ पर हमें नहीं दिया गया था कि जिनसे उन्होंने लिया था लैपटॉप, राइट. वी आर जस्ट एज्यूमिंग हियर, इजंट दैट सो रितिमा, वेदिका, इजंट दैट आर एजम्पशन हियर? राइट. सो तो हल्का सा एजम्पशन है यहाँ पे. So, Ridhima Singh sir, but the purpose of the purchase was to sell it even further. But how would that change the answer? Let's see again. The supermarket purchase of goods was for commercial purpose. The purchaser would not be. Okay, right. ठीक है. तो I think we'll where is question number 22? ठीक है. तो I think यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा I agree. There is a little ambiguity here because the passage clearly talks about the word purchase, right? It should be not purchased. Okay, right. So here we can say that we can say B is also a very good option, right? Because it was purchased. So commercial purpose आगे था या नहीं था, we can't determine that. Okay, perfectly fine, right? So we will give +1 for both B and D, right? Because the word used here is purchased, right? So not anything else. और वहाँ पे purchase के बारे में clearly लिखा गया था, right? So we will give +1 to both B and D. ठीक है. Question number 23 पे आते हैं. Question number 23 now. Ridhima is saying B. Excellent, Ridhima. That is excellent speed. Right. अगर आप इतना जल्दी comprehend कर पाए, that was very very good, Ridhima. Purchase a few items, but to use them during a party. The next morning, she discovered facial rashes around her ears and neck. Subsequently, it was revealed that the products were defective, right? So, can she take action? The answer is yes. बिल्कुल वो action ले सकती हैं. Why? Because purchase for commercial purpose exclude buyers as consumers because she was using it right for her party. So it is not primarily commercial and hence it can be she can be deemed as a consumer, right? Excellent, right? So I think most of you have got it right. So B is the right answer. Question number 24. More responses, guys. More responses. Anyone else? Okay, so C is the right answer because Zyka is engaged in commercial activities. It was given to you preceding, right? The defects in cosmetic items, but due to a manufacturing error, would Zyka have the legal grounds? But because Zyka was further planning to, और उन्होंने आगे उसको बेचने के लिए लिया था, so that's the reason it cannot be, or under the Consumer Protection Act, कंज्यूमर की डेफिनेशन के अंडर वो नहीं आएंगी बिकॉज शी वॉज एंगेज्ड इन कमर्शियल activities, and that's the reason it will not be covered under the Consumer Protection Act. So I hope all of you got it right, Ridhima, and that's the reason why even for question number 22 also we said that it was vague. Why? Because वहाँ पे भी अगर purchase word use हो गया है, right, so will not matter, right, वो किस purpose के लिए था. Exactly, Ridhima, right. So that's the reason I'm saying that even for question number 22, right, जहाँ पे हमने बोला था कि maybe the initial response was it cannot be determined, but as I said, right, because the word used was purchased, right, so the same reasoning has to flow, right? You're absolutely right here, bache. There are no and by the way, you will find such questions in the final exam as well, right? Because it is legal reasoning, so there could be an element of doubt. कहीं ना कहीं पे ऐसा element of doubt रह जाएगा, and for this, if you have any doubts, you can go through the last 5 years papers. You will find enough material there जहाँ पे आपको ऐसे वाले doubts आएंगे कि दो what do you call it, there were two answers possible, right? but yeah, यहाँ पे clearly because हमें दिया गया था कि it was the word used was purchased, right? So that's the reason. सेम रीजनिंग, राइट, 24 और 22 का सेम रीजनिंग ही निकल के आ रहे हैं, एंगेज्ड इन कमर्शियल एक्टिविटीज. प्रतिमा, वेरी गुड. ठीक है, क्वेश्चन नंबर 25, व्हेन व्हिच लेजिस्लेशन रिप्लेस द कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 1986? And the correct answer is Okay, excellent guys, right? So this requires a bit of external knowledge as well, but Consumer Protection Act again usually आपसे expect किया जाएगा कि आपको जो नया एक्ट है उसके बारे में थोड़ी इन्फॉर्मेशन हो। तो 2019, इवन इफ यू डोंट नो दिस गाइज, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट। आप, मैंने जैसे बताया कि डोंट गो फॉर 100% एक्यूरेसी इन द लीगल एप्टीट्यूड सेक्शन, इट विल ओनली क्रिएट मोर प्रॉब्लम्स फॉर यू। उससे आपकी प्रॉब्लम्स कम नहीं होंगी, उससे आपकी प्रॉब्लम्स ज़्यादा ही होनी है। ओके, सो गाइज आई थिंक वी आर शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम नाउ। आई थिंक इट वॉज a 2 hour session. Right, so if you guys have more questions for me, I would love to take those first. uh, with respect to legal aptitude section, आपके कोई भी और questions हैं, again you may, you guys should be solving more and more legal aptitude questions, more mocks. Any questions you have with respect to legal aptitude, please feel free. You guys want to do one more passage here? Okay, yes, okay. Chalo, the last passage, we'll do one more because we want to do one more passage here, which is with respect to dying declaration again. So if you look at these passages, guys, सारे passages ऐसे हैं जो आपके जो कोर लॉ एरियाज हैं या जो टॉपिक्स हैं वहाँ से नहीं है। सो व्हाट वी हैव ट्राइड टू डू हियर इज कि आपको कुछ एक और फ्लेवर मिले कि क्लैट एग्जाम में जो मिसलेनियस की हम बात कर रहे थे कि अलग अलग टॉपिक्स से क्या आ सकता है। लेट्स रीड पैसेज 6। Now, reading such a passage will take some time. It's a new topic maybe for a lot of us. Let's go on to the next slide. Shall we start? Shall we start looking at the questions? Everyone? Okay, last few lines are not visible. Vedika, we have also shared the PDF file as well in case you want. I mean, you can read from there as well. Is it visible now? Done? Okay, great. Chalo, let's look at the questions now. Question number 26. Question number 26. What should be the answer? Ritima, you'll have to choose one. Okay, B is the right answer. Ritima, again, I mean, we can always say that the whatever would have been said in the case of state of UP versus Veer Pal, it should be flowing from the Indian Evidence Act. But when we are solving a reasoning problem out of the two options, and because the passage was dealing with this particular sage, okay, you want to see the passage again? The passage starts with state of UP versus Veerpal. Right? So all the things which are being talked about in the passage, Riddhima, they are actually flowing from this case only. Right? Is it clear? Okay. So B is the right answer. Question number 27. Again, a pretty straightforward one. Anushka, Vedika, all of you are saying A. Absolutely correct. Why? Because now there is a problem here. The factual metrics differs, right? So what the person is saying, right, that is inconsistent with the medical evidence, right? It was inconsistent with the medical evidence, and then we cannot say, right? So that's the reason the medical evidence does not corroborate with the dying declaration, and hence A is the right answer. Excellent, right? So again, I mean, for this you might have to go back to the passage, but I would still say ki it was pretty straightforward one. Question number 28. Now, this question is a mix of legal reasoning and critical reasoning, I would say. What assumptions, if accepted to be true, might present counter arguments against relying on the response? Anushka, uh, might present counter arguments, right? So the correct answer has to be B. Excellent. Ridhima, Vedika, a person on their deathbed might not be fully conscious of their statements, और ये हम accept कर सकते हैं, right? The lack of full consciousness raises doubts about their reliability. Anushka, a person on their deathbed lacks the ability to retract their statement. This is a little vague, no? Right? So that's the right answer. We can see that, right? And it was talked about also in the passage. Okay, question number 29. Again, it's a very, very like pure factual problem जो आपको पैसेज में दिया गया है. If you want, I can go back to the passage again. B, D, B, D. Okay. So the correct answer is A. It relied on Jagbir Singh versus State. Relied का मतलब they looked at the facts of that particular case and then gave the judgment in this particular case. Right? So A is the right answer. If you guys want, I can go back, but पैसे में दिया गया था, उन्होंने साइड किया था उस केस को कि इस केस के अंदर जैसा कि पहले बात हुआ है, एंड दे हैड further continued from there, right? Overrule का मतलब क्या होगा? Anyone here? What would you mean by overruling? Overruling, you are clear? What do you mean by overrule? Anyone? What do you mean by overrule? Different जजमेंट और रिद्धिमा इन अदर वर्ड्स जो पुराना जजमेंट था उसको ओवर रूल किया गया होगा और बोला होगा कि वो इन अ वे दैट इज नॉट द राइट लॉ, राइट, और जो भी लॉ के ऊपर बोला गया होगा, सो तब हम बोलते हैं कि वो जजमेंट या वो ऑर्डर या वो कोर्ट ने केस में वो उसको ओवर रूल किया है व्हेन दे हैव नॉट एग्री टू व्हाट वाज कंक्लूडेड और व्हाट वाज हेल्ड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस, राइट? इस केस में ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था जहां पे हम ये बोल सकें कि इसको ओवर रूल किया गया है और दे आर कमिंग अप विद अ न्यू लॉ. आर्गुमेंट प्रेजेंटेड इन दैट, नॉट द आर्गुमेंट वेदिका, आई वुड से कि जो फाइनल ऑर्डर था, जो फाइनल जजमेंट था, है ना, अभी कोर्ट उस ऑर्डर से उस जजमेंट के साथ they don't agree with that, right? They are saying that no, that was wrong and we need to change it now. So in that sense we use the word overrule. Argument तो दोनों केसेस में प्रेजेंट हो सकते हैं. I hope it is clear, right? Okay, let's look at question number 30 now. Maybe, okay. So Vedika is saying C, but after thought or second, huh? C, D, or A. Okay. Multiple dying declarations saying that she was assaulted by Rekha, Jaya, and Sushma in separate statements. Guys, ये आपको दिया गया था separate statements हैं. Can Rekha, Jaya, Sushma be convicted based on these dying declarations? So the correct answer is D. Riddhima, very good. Your answer is correct. Can you explain why was your answer D, Riddhima, before I explain the reasoning part? Riddhima? So guys, again, clearly yes वाले options तो clearly बाहर थे, right? Because अगर multiple declarations हैं, right, और fully investigate, right? तो अगर multiple declarations हैं और अलग अलग हैं वो भी, right? Because आपको दिया गया था alleging that she was assaulted by these three people but in separate statements, right? तो ये तो clear था कि just based on the statements they cannot be convicted, right? तो yes was clearly out of the picture. B बोल रहा था no, as multiple dying declarations create ambiguity and cannot be considered reliable evidence. हमें आगे का नहीं पता था कि इनके बाद क्या किया गया है, जो भी statements दी गई हैं उनके ऊपर क्या investigation हुआ है, right? So the court must examine the entire material on record, right? वो फिर investigation का part था, ये देखना था कि अगर वो separate statement में जो भी वो बोल रहे हैं क्या वो link हो सकता है क्या, right? तो assessment should not solely rely on the medical evidence जो कि यहाँ पर हमें बीच बीच में दिया गया था, हम सिर्फ उस पर rely नहीं कर सकते हैं because there were multiple statements, right? But only the dying only the dying declaration can't be used to establish these were true, right? So that's the correct answer. So again, I think out of five, you almost all, you guys got almost all correct. The passage was on the lengthier side. Passage थोड़ा सा lengthier side पे था, but I don't think the questions were that problematic. Why? Because they were flowing directly from the passage. So guys, so we'll stop here now, right? And so the idea of this session was just to again revise few of these things, right, what you've been doing so far, right, और आपको वापस से जो LA का जो feel है, right, उस पे लेकर आने का, that how you should differentiate between the two options, या आपके कुछ एक ऐसे टॉपिक्स जो आपने अभी तक नहीं देखे हैं, राइट, उनको आप थोड़ा और देख सकें, राइट. फॉर एग्जांपल टुडे वी लुक्ड एट इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट, वी आल्सो लुक्ड एट एविडेंस के बारे में बात हुआ, कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट के बारे में बात हुआ. ऑल दीज वुड फॉल अंडर मिसलेनियस लॉज, जो कि यू नो एवरीवन हैज बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस थिंग दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द topics which we are going to see in the paper will be from miscellaneous and not from the usual topics, right. तो वही यहाँ पे कोशिश थी. Any questions you guys have before we end this session? कोई questions है आपके LA को लेकर? And before we end this, right, we will be doing the analysis for the CLAT exam, right, which will start at 5:30 on the day, right. So आप लोग भी जाएंगे. I am also you know appearing for the exam, and we will try and do the analysis, because 150 से 120 का जो ये change आया है, right, so it will be the first paper. So please do attend that session as well, and tell your friends as well about the analysis part. And also we will be doing another session on strategy for CLAT, which will be doing on Thursday, right. Thursday 7 p.m. we will be doing that session where you know subject experts, right, from all the five core areas, right, subject areas, they will come and they will talk about you know how to go about the paper. I'm sure you have already done a lot regarding this. आपने बहुत सारे mocks solve किए हैं, you have now fine tuned everything, but it is still better to listen to all these experts, right, what they have to say about the exam, which is right here now. So guys, anything else, any questions on LA legal aptitude? Riddhima, Vedika, Anushka, Tanu, all of you, right, who have attended the session, anything you want to share, anything you want to ask, please feel free. Okay, so I'm assuming there are no more questions here. So we will stop here, and okay, Riddhima is saying no sir, thank you, right. So we will see you guys on Thursday, right, where we will talk about the final tips, right, before the CLAT exam, what to do, what not to do, right, how to go about last few days, how to manage pressure, and how not to panic during the final exams. That will be on Thursday. Till then, bye bye, take care, keep smiling, keep working hard, right. I know you guys are under a lot of pressure right now, but I think this is the time when you should only be thinking about giving your 100%, right. So please do that. All the best, and we'll see you on Thursday, right. Thank you.